Heyo everybody, Haku here with, I've been saying forever that I would do this, but finally a discussion on The Walking Dead Season 9, the first half of it. So I actually, sorry if I'm a mess, I'm recording this actually kinda late, at least in terms of when I usually record things, but yeah, this is going to be pretty chill. I'm just going to discuss some thoughts on the first half of this, and if people are interested in me reviewing it week to week for the second half of the season, I will definitely take that under advisory. I might not review it on Mondays like the day after like I used to, but at some point during the week I'd do a review for it if people want to see that again. But yeah, for the second half of Season 6, all through 7 and 8, I reviewed it week to week and got a bit burnt out on it. Season 7 and 8 was really a creative slump for the show, and I wanted to talk about the beginning of Season 9 because it's been so good. It's one of those things where I tried to stay positive because I try to be positive about anything that I watch or read, and no matter how much I tried to stay positive, Season 7 and Season 8 just had a lot of stuff. I don't think any of it was really particularly terrible, besides the CGI deer. I remember hating that so much. I don't really think any of it was particularly terrible or anything, but it was definitely just meh. Which is kind of sad, because I was always beforehand being like, oh, they need to give a full season to All Out War, and now in hindsight I'm like, maybe they could have just really condensed the events of Season 7 and then conjoined the two seasons together. So yeah, I think that I will be talking a bit about the negatives of Season 7 and 8 here, because it leads into some of the things that Season 9 has done so totally right so far. And I think maybe we can attribute a lot of this to Angela Kang as the new showrunner, because it's just been such a turnaround. It's been so good in ways that it was failing a lot before. And for me, I think the instant snap to the show being downhill, and I've said this a bunch, if I talk to anybody like on Twitter, on Discord or anything about the show, and I talk about this is always my thing that I say it went downhill with the cliffhanger at the end of Season 6. Because before that, I was watching so many channels, there were so many discussions, so many forum discussions and stuff about the show, and then as soon as that cliffhanger happened, because either people didn't want to get spoiled or people didn't want to spoil people, and also because there's only so much you can talk about when it comes to oh, who died, like, there's only so much you can talk about. The discussion isn't going to last for months. So all of those channels kind of died, to tell the truth. All the discussions died down. Everybody was too scared of getting spoiled, and there wasn't much to talk about. So because that, for me, just kind of killed it. The fan interest just was so high and then disappeared when that cliffhanger came around. And even then, I totally avoided anything so I wouldn't get spoiled. And maybe a month or two before the premiere happened, I'm just on an AMC channel video, scroll down to the comments. Oh, all the comments on an AMC video are just the exact spoilers of what's going to happen. So what's the point of doing the cliffhanger if everyone's going to get spoiled months in advance anyway on things that are, like, it's not even like I'm going to a spoiler site or anything. This is AMC's own YouTube page. It's just such a ridiculous thing, and that's where it went downhill. And then Season 7, one of the things it did wrong that Season 9 is doing right so far, finally getting around to actually talking about Season 9, but I feel like that preface was kind of necessary. One of the things Season 7 then did wrong was that we would see one community. We would see, I think some of the biggest problems were, like, we saw the Kingdom episode 2 and I loved it. I loved that episode. Then we probably didn't see the Kingdom again till like episode 7 or 8. And I think the biggest one was, there was one that I complained about during that season where I think it was the Hilltop. Maybe we saw the Hilltop once and then didn't see anyone from the Hilltop again for like 6 or 7 episodes, which is insane. So that was a huge problem I had, is that there was like an episode per community, sometimes just an episode per character. A lot of people call them bottle episodes, whether it's super correct or not. But those were a huge problem for Season 7. And Season 8 did a lot better of a job with that. But Season 9's doing amazing. I love that it's not like they're having to use the entire cast all at the same time, but just episode by episode, there was a little bit of the characters from the Kingdom, a little bit from Hilltop, a little bit from Alexandria, and we got to see all these different characters interact. We got to jump around a bunch, and I say it again, with anything that I read or anything that I watch, I love when series jump around a lot, do different locations, scene by scene. Whenever a chapter or issue or episode of anything just sticks with the same place or the same character the entire time, unless it's trying to do something really, really special and good, it usually fails. Sometimes it ends up being really good and succeeding, but it usually fails. So I think that was a problem with Season 7 that Season 9 is doing amazing with so far. Another problem I had with the past 2 seasons, and I think I talked about this a bit in my discussions and reviews and stuff for Season 8, was that whenever characters talked, they didn't really talk to each other like they were having a normal conversation, like normal human beings or anything, but they all sounded like they were giving speeches. It was like everybody talked in monologues. Everybody talked as if they were giving a speech, not like they were actually interacting with each other. And then it's such a difference just in the first couple episodes of Season 9. This has been the biggest difference for me, and the thing that's drawn me into the quality of it more is that the characters talking to each other feel like actual people talking to each other. And that plays a really, really big difference to me. So I think that's another one of those things that's a big step up. Another thing I thought was good is that they've built a lot of mystery with this season, and they've had a lot of surprises. I have easily not been surprised. I can say Season 7, I was spoiled for the premiere, and other than that, pretty much no surprises. Basically everything was pretty spelled out. You could see everything coming, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Predictability means it was built up well. But there was no shocker. There was nothing that got me like hyped and like completely blown away, not expecting whatsoever. I was expecting basically everything that happened all through Season 7, all through Season 8. Pretty much everything was like, oh yeah, I could easily call that. But at least twice so far this season, I was just completely blown away, shocked. I didn't know they were going to do that second time skip, that 6-year time skip, so when the end of episode 5 came around, I was legitimately shocked. And then again, with, spoilers if you haven't watched it, but then again with Jesus' death in the mid-season finale, again, I was not expecting it whatsoever. I had no idea they would do something like that. And it isn't bad, but it's surprising. Like, I was actually excited and into the series because they shocked me twice. They did things I wasn't expecting at all twice, and they hadn't done that for seasons, for years or so. I mean, that's very, very good. And I like that they built up a lot of mystery, even in the beginning with how Rick was going to die. And ordinarily, in going into this, I was kind of complaining. Like, I was like, I don't know how good Season 9's going to be. I mean, what kind of show gives away a character dying or leaving or whatever? But they gave it away, and it still turned out to be really damn good. So there was this mystery behind it of how it was going to happen, which was great. And in addition to that, we now have the mystery of the Whisperers, which was really, really good. So I loved that. And I feel like I haven't enjoyed the show as much as I enjoyed the first half of the season. I haven't enjoyed it that much since No Way Out, which was the mid-season premiere for Season 6, which is still probably my favorite episode. I really liked this mid-season finale, but No Way Out's still probably my favorite episode. That or the Season 5 premiere, both of those are like top tier. Starting, I want to talk at least really quickly about the story in general. So at least with episode 1 and stuff, the story started off really good. Now that I got some general stuff that it's done amazingly out of the way, it started off really quick, and it had the Gregory story of how he died and his plot against Maggie. It had that all retold within the first episode, was all really good, and it actually, even though I wasn't sure if I liked the way Earl was changed as a character, this developed Earl in a really cool way, because we see that it comes back into play years later in the showtime, but just a couple weeks later in our time, in like episode 7 or 8, I think it was episode 8, it comes back into play. So again, developing Earl as a character like that was good. Episodes 2 through 4, we had this great mystery building of what's going on with Jadis and the A or B, with what's going on with Rick. How is he going to end up dying? There was good character building. with the retelling of the Maggie and Negan story this early on, which I think is actually a good decision. And it feels like the show has just departed so far from the comics that I think it's a great thing. Because as much as I do like seeing these iconic moments, I think that another problem with Season 8 was that, I don't want to say it was played too safe, but it's like, the show would be the best if it either follows the comics super, super strictly and does everything the comics do, or if it totally departs from it and hits a few notes here and there, but generally does its own thing and tells its own story. That's when it's going to be best. If it's too much of a mix between the two, if it's like trying to be the comics but not trying to be it, it felt like throughout Season 8 that's kind of the deal where it felt like it was having trouble finding itself in kind of a way, where I'm like, they're trying to stick too close from the comics and at the same time not deviating far enough. They really need to pick which direction they want to go, and it feels like they've took such a departure in Season 9, and it's been great. So all of that was good. The character building with the Daryl and Rick scene in the hole was really great. A lot of people always talk about that. And just building up the full overarching story was really good. Episode 5, of course, was a great episode, and honestly, Rick's story must be crazy if he hasn't made it back in 6 years. Like, what the hell is going on with him? What has he found that has kept him from coming back for 6 years, unless what he found was death? But in addition to that, maybe when we do see those movies, when we see the character again, perhaps we'll see Heath with him and Anne. That's another little story I love told in the background. When Anne's driving around in that episode in that RV, that's the RV that Heath was in when he was taken, so we know that Heath was one of the people traded. So again, really creative. All that was really good. Episode 6, Magna's group is way different, and I love Magna from the comics, so I wasn't sure how I liked her character being changed so much. But even though she was changed so much, her entire group, each member was given a really good and distinct personality. I was watching like, you're really trying to make me care about Luke here, because he gets a lot of screen time. But yeah, I actually really like every single member of the group. I enjoy all of that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't been paying attention for comic spoilers, but I shouldn't be talking about comic spoilers. I don't think I've said anything comic spoilery, so hopefully I haven't. But either way, Magna's group is different in the show, but I like them a lot. And I'm excited to see more of Judith and the community for Alexandria, because Judith as this new grown-up character, or kind of grown-up character, I actually love what the actress did, and I thought that her work at the end of episode 5 and mostly episode 6 when we actually got to see her was really great, so I'm excited for her to be a main character. Even though the whole aging issue that we had with Carl seems like it might be an issue again, but either way, what I was saying is they should just say that she's like 15 or something, even though she's obviously not, so that she can have a few years to grow into it. But either way. Also to see more of the community dynamic, like I said, because Michonne seems to kind of be head honcho, even though she's just like head of defense or whatever. But it seems like a lot of people don't agree with a lot of the way she's running the place. We've seen, Laura didn't get much time, but I like that she's there as a member of that council. We've seen Gabriel has a lot of issues with the way she's running things, but of course Gabriel monumentally fucked up, so she's probably going to be more pissed at him. But yeah, it seems like a lot of people there, Aaron as well, seem to be questioning the way Michonne is running things. So this could be interesting. It's going to be good development for her, I think. I think maybe somewhere along the line, we still don't know what happened, but we know we're going to find out. Michonne fucked up somewhere along the way, but I feel like she's going to have a really good character redemption where she comes back around. So I think that's going to be really good. I really like the new look for her. I like the new look for basically all of the characters. Aaron's new look is really good. Gabriel's kind of mostly the same. Eugene looks so much cooler now. So yeah. Generally, I like that. So I'd like to see more of the community stuff. Tara is Jesus is technically the leader, but Tara is basically the leader. For Hilltop, I thought all that was great, because if you've been watching my reviews for the seasons and have stuck around with the channel somehow, thankfully, to see this, Tara's been one of my favorite characters basically ever since she showed up. I friggin' love Tara, and I think it's great having her as a leader and everything. Also, I like grown-up Henry. I really do. I think that some of this teenage apocalypse stuff is, I don't know. It's teenage apocalypse stuff is bound to be sketchy, but I like the character Henry. And then getting into the mid-season finale, talking more about Henry actually, I kind of hope there's some development for those other kids, because it's good to see a new, younger generation for the show, that maybe those characters in like 3-4 seasons can grow up to be kind of important characters. So maybe seeing a little bit more of them could be cool. We see sort of a new generation forming, as we still have the sort of big pillars of the series there, like Michonne and Daryl and Carol. So all of that's really good. I like the stuff with Henry there, between Henry and Earl, and there was something else that I wanted to say, but now I am forgetting it. Damn. Yeah, I thought the mid-season finale was another great, really amazing episode. It was creepy, it was exciting. The death at the end was totally unexpected. I didn't see it coming, which is really good. And it makes me really excited for the future. I'm especially excited for the future because that promo for 9B was all kinds of hype. The Whispers are awesome. I mean, they're horrible as far as people go, but they're awesome as a bad guy, an antagonistic community, and I don't really think that's spoiling anything, because it's pretty clear that they're antagonistic since they just killed Jesus like that. And they're just creepy fucks. But yeah, Lydia's actress looks cool, and I feel like there's going to be some stuff with her and with Henry, probably. Then we got to see just the back of Alpha, which was cool, and I didn't even notice the first time I saw it. And then just friggin' Beta. Beta is one of the coolest, one of my favorite characters from the comics. So I'm so excited to see how they're going to retell Beta on the screen. And I know the actor's pretty tall, like 6'4", 6'5" maybe, but they put some like really tall boots on him or something, the dude could look massive. It could be really, really cool. So yeah, I'm really excited to see more Beta. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to discuss this for a bit. I'm excited for the future, and Season 9A was amazing. It took some of the shortcomings of previous seasons and turned them around and just did everything that other seasons were doing kind of so much better. The big three main things, or two main things I guess. Yeah, I guess just two main things that's doing better is that we're getting to see multiple characters and places and jump around between them, which we need to do with a cast and with a world this big, because it's kind of not as exciting if we don't. So we need to keep doing that. That was really good. It was a problem with previous seasons that the season's doing better. And another big obvious one is that the dialogue between characters feels more natural, feels more real. Doesn't feel like every character is just giving a speech to each other. So those are the two big things. So I think Angela Kang, if this is up to her as showrunner, if that's what made such a big difference, then good on her. But yeah, all props to her if that's the case, because it is so much better right now. And then of course everybody else working on it. The actors have always done the best job they can with it, and they've always been very good. And then yeah, thanks to all the writers and directors, it was really good. I enjoyed watching it. So yeah, hopefully the second half of the season will be good. And like I said before, if you want to see me review it week to week, I don't know what day I would review it on, but I'll highly think about it. And if enough people say they want it, then yeah, I will totally do it. So yeah, that's it. Like if you did like the video, comment down there too. Tell me what you thought of this first half of the season, what you thought of my thoughts on it, I guess. Anything you want to chime in there with. Subscribe for more The Walking Dead comics every week, or every month for the comics. I always do a reaction to the new issue when it comes out, usually the day of, sometimes a day later, depends on when I get it, and then I'll do a review of it a couple days later or something. So if you want to keep up to date with comic stuff and see videos on that, I do that. But the show, I haven't been talking about this season, but like I said, might do it weekly if people want me to. So sub for that if you're interested. Plus you'll have to get used to the tons of other things on the channel, including manhwa or Korean comics, manga, anime and such. So yeah, if you're into any of that, sub to. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel or talk to you there. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord, then you can just ask and I'll give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.